Okay. Well, today we're going to practice JavaScript interview questions. And I'm gonna be asking like 3 or 4 questions of you. And your task is to answer to me as you would answer to the engineer during the interview and give the best of your knowledge. And for others who are just watching, just to think of how would you answer these questions. And yeah, if it's not kind of your turn being practicing, but right now let's practice and try with volunteers. Do we have a volunteer for this purpose?
Yeah. Okay. So by the way, Takhir, from the last interview, like you wrote something, right? Like answers or result.
Oh, I haven't sent it to you, right? From HTML and CSS.
Yeah, I just was not in the end of class. I mean, yeah, did you send it or did you uh like give answer for guys? Like,
I think we didn't
No.
get anything from you.
it's just
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
from how was my answer? Like,
yeah. I will send it. It's in the document. I'm gonna. Sorry, guys. It's my fault. I'm going to send it with JavaScript all together.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. I have. Yeah, we have different source of questions and answers. So we have in SATEC, we have some questions and answers, and I prepared on my own extra list. So I'm going to send it. And if I will not forget it, but in case if I forget it, feel free to Slack me and ask, hey man, can you send me? Can you send us as you forgot probably? Okay. Well, Victor, are you ready to answer a couple of my questions about JavaScript?
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready. Absolutely. In scopes, no.
Okay. What is asynchronous JavaScript code? Can you explain me, please?
Asynchronous JavaScript code. So I prefer to start to explain like what is synchronous code, to explain what is asynchronous. So our JavaScript code is gonna be read from the top to bottom, like each our function or or variables, everything. If, for example, if I wanna like fetch some data from API, if it will be really big data, it's gonna take some time. If this fetching will be on the top, all my code like below, he has to wait when I will get the data, and it's can make my code like not fast. So to solve this problem, I need to make my code asynchronous to choose like the part which can make my code slow, which can like задержать, like catch.
Delay.
Yeah, delay my code. Yeah, I can make this code asynchronous. In this case, uh, when my code will be gonna be read from top, when he will find the asynchronous like function, for example, he's gonna just jump. He's gonna skip this part and he's gonna implement other codes. And when I will get that data, only after that, my code will be like running completely that part. That's what I know about asynchronous. But
Okay.
I think your question was more like general comment, but
Yes, yeah. And can you tell me how asynchronous code is being handled in JavaScript engines, like
Engines.
in Node.js or V8 or in browser? Is there anything handles that? Can you mention me a couple of those tools?
How implement, like how to make my code asynchronous, or
How it was implemented or asynchronous code executed or directed on the backend part?
so if I understood correctly, so I used async for the function. If I want to make my function asynchronous, I can use like its keyword async. He's gonna come with other keywords like wait, this stuff. So I know the async, just to make it short answer.
Okay. So you just said about the syntax thing, but have you ever heard about event loop?
Event loop, like it's a general naming, or it's like the one tool event loop.
Event loop, it's a tool which handles asynchronous JavaScript code in under hood of the JavaScript.
I think Tahir, I didn't understand your question completely.
Okay.
Maybe there are some uh, the tools inside. Maybe I will recognize them.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Um, um, can you tell me what is a heap and stack in JavaScript?
Heap and stack.
Mhm.
Stack. I know I heard about stack, but I didn't hear about the first word. Can you repeat, please? Maybe.
Heap, like heap,
Heap.
HEAP. Yeah.
I really I really didn't hear about this word.
Yeah,
Heap.
that's no problem. That's no problem. All right.
And also stack is I heard about this word. I think I used this logic, but I didn't read the documentation about this. So I don't know how to explain this stack in JavaScript.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what is the difference between primitive and not primitive data type in JavaScript?
Mm,
Okay, what's the difference between like
I
a
see.
number and array or object?
So just number is just the one type of element in JavaScript. Array, like array can contain a lot of different stuffs and in different type of, but I don't even know how they are related to primitive and unprimitive data. Like data is, I know like the key and value, right? The data like key value, key value.
Data, it just can be anything. Data type, I mean, like the variable.
Just
Something what you can store is variable.
like the number, string, boolean, and other things.
Mhm.
If so, I think so. And primitive is array. It's maybe object, because object can contain also different things. But so I think, yeah, primitive is, as you said, is number and string and boolean, and unprimitive is array or maybe object. I'm not sure about object, which can
Mhm.
which can has more difficult structure.
Mhm.
That's all we can
Okay.
tell about primitive
Yeah.
language.
Okay. Well, last but not least, can we talk about functions in JavaScript? Can you explain me what kind of functions do you know, and maybe your experience of using those functions?
I mean, function types, or what do you mean? Like, what kind of functions?
Just functions, basic. What is that? How did you use it? Like
Okay.
functions in JavaScript.
So yeah, in general, when we wanted to develop some website, for example, we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript together. So we know for what do we need to use HTML and CSS, and JavaScript is gonna help with some functionality implementation. So I think the main part of JavaScript is the function. So each function is gonna return something. Is gonna return what we are expecting, what result we're expecting from our logic. It's like in general, yeah, each function should return what we want to get when we are we're gonna implement our logic. Can you please ask me like more because you ask like what is function like in general? This is my answer. Maybe you want to ask something, some details or.
Yeah, can you tell me what's the difference between regular function and asynchronous function?
So regular function and async function. I can say that as I already thought about the async function, regular function is gonna.
They have a little.
Yeah, I
Yes.
in my mind I have like answer, but I feel that it will be not really correct. Because just you like average function, he is gonna be implemented like in order. We have like order when our code gonna be read like from top to bottom, and he will I don't know this word like подчиниться of this yeah order. If you make it asynchronous, he will be implemented after when he will be ready to return something.
What do they return the same value, or they have little exceptions or difference?
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, you mean like if just the average function can return something, like in some case, async cannot be able to return the same thing, right? I mean,
Yeah, a regular function in JavaScript return whatever you make it return.
Yeah.
But asynchronous function in JavaScript return only promise. It cannot return anything else but promise.
Yeah, when I use async only for fetching some data, yeah, when I get some promise from API. But that promise can be like anything again, like I think.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, thank you for your answers. I'm gonna give you a short feedback.
All right.
Yeah, asynchronous JavaScript and questions related asynchronous JavaScript code. It's kind of one of the most things you would need to know. I mean, the whole JavaScript needs to be kind of mastered, but the asynchronous code and functions and promises, they probably might ask you more usual during the interview. So it's kind of tricky questions. They can be asked more often. So I think you during this class you can kind of get some topics you need to learn and read about that. But I mean, it's always something you can learn and improve. And I like that how you answered and expressed your thoughts and asked the questions. And asking the question during the interview, it's a good sign, it's a good thing. And always narrow, because the question can be a very common, like, hey, can you tell me about the functions? And of course, you can say basic thing, but the beneficial thing would be if you say, okay, functions it's repeatable part of code. And what kind of functions would you like me to tell? If you feel confident, or if you ask more specific questions during the topic, it may help you to and make a positive feedback from the interviewer.
I feel it because I didn't know how to like answer like after this. Yeah.
And if you don't know something, don't worry, don't stress out. It's easy to say and hard to implement, but it's always beneficial when you do it like a dialogue. Answer, and ask in return. And if you don't know something, feel free to say, I don't know.
Yeah, I knew that I will not be able to answer even to the half of questions. I was ready for that.
And
thank you. I need to read about like the documentation of each like naming part, like what is this, and yeah, I know I need to learn it. And thank you.
Yeah, of course. And just from a little bit behavioral, when you try to smile, if you like talk with or without video, and if you try to make yourself to smile, your voice is going to sound a little bit like lighter. It's coming actually from the sales. I used to be in sales for a long of time, and we had a lot of techniques how to make your relationship with the person you talk to. And when you smile, even talking by phone, and the person doesn't see you, they can hear your voice and the lightness. And while you smile yourself, you can then make yourself like relaxed a little bit. So it's kind of improves your like behavioral part during the interview.
Okay.
So, and say they ask, hey, can you tell me about something? You say, I don't know.
Okay, it's
I
going
mean,
to get me fun laugh. Yeah, it's true.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Victor.
Thank
And
you.
let's talk to somebody else. Do we have volunteer?
I can choose, and next person can choose like another person. It's like game.
Yeah, this is a great idea. I like it.
All right. I hope you will not hate me, guys, if I will pick you. So I'm gonna just pick randomly. Oh, hi, it's you. I'm sorry. It was not on purpose. It was randomly.
Sorry, what did you? Yeah, I missed some part.
You are next person for the interview.
Oh,
Interview.
okay. So which? Okay.
I believe you. Okay, I know you. You know everything.
You choose me. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Kai. Thank you for joining this interview and applying for this front-end role in our company. And today we go on to ask you some questions about JavaScript. And we're going to be asking the toughest questions we can. So,
I'm ready.
Yeah, are you ready? Okay. Can you tell me what kind of patterns or principles in programming do you know? In general, on high level stuff.
Patterns in programming.
I would say principles. Can you call me a couple of principles?
Um,
Just on top of your memory.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, there are four main principles in programming, which is inheritance. Yes. So I need to I need to get the information from deep from my inside my inheritance.
Encapsulation.
Encapsulation, inheritance, and two more.
Single responsibilities.
What?
Single responsibilities.
Single. Oh my God, I don't. Yeah, I don't remember. I want to remember.
Excuse me, Takhir, what was question?
What kind of principles do you know in programming?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, single responsibility means singleton, right?
It's a little bit different, but they're similar and different at the same time.
Yeah, they have this. The main approaches are this. Yeah, using. So it depends which programming language do you use. So if it's object-oriented programming, they have their own principles, but JavaScript is a more kind of functional kind of programming languages, and with React, it's even getting more functional programming language. So it's going toward using the pure functions, which is
Okay. Okay. Have you ever heard about do not repeat yourself principle?
Yeah, that's one of the main. That's one of the main principles in the coding. So dry, do not repeat yourself when you're. So it means don't write same code again and again. Just if you're seeing that you can have one code, just repeat it. So yeah, you can create, for example, function to reuse that code, but not to write again and again same code. And also there are another principles like KISS, keep it stupidly simple. So don't write over complicated codes, but so make it more readable for the other people, for other programmers, because we will be writing code for people, not for the machines, and it should be readable and maintainable. Yeah. Because so yeah, there is another principle, code maintainability. So over time, code may be get old, and you will use a different patterns, approaches to your code repository, and that readability so will give you kind of a maintainability. That's yeah, you should consider that. The readability, maintainability of your code, and the reusability.
Nice, nice. Yeah, thank you for your answer. And you mentioned for functional programming languages, it's going to be implemented one principles, for not functional, different principles. Can you tell me what makes a functional programming language functional? How can you determine this programming language is functional and this is not functional?
I think when we are using functions instead of instead of classes. So, for example, in an older version of your React, it used to be it was using classes. So all the React code was based on the using the class approach or class components, and now so with the introduction of these hooks, functional components, so to use it and make it much easier to manage the state, because with class components it was possible, but it was complicated to manage states.
Yeah. functionals. Yeah, functional React. Now React is super functional that it used to be before. And do you know any significant, can you mention any significant part? How can you say the functional languages has it and not functionals don't have it? Something you can, because functions can be used in even object-oriented programming languages like what is that? Java and I don't know, Python. Just if you
JavaScript is a prototype based language because I really, it's hard to explain, but so even classes are built based on functions, and there are so different types of functions, just regular functions, and also what is that? Function. So,
okay.
Not component. So what you have inside the class in the beginning?
Methods.
Huh?
Methods.
No, not before the. So we have class, and inside, so we assign, what is that section called?
Constructor.
Also constructor functions. They're constructor functions, and so it used to be constructor functions, but even classes are kind of basically functions in JavaScript. I don't know if there's the right answer. It's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Talking about classes, I think you know a lot about classing programming, so I'm not going to be asking you about classes. I want to ask you about the promise. Can you tell me what is a promise in JavaScript and why is that necessary?
Promises, promises are solving the big problem in JavaScript, like async. So when we have this async, how to say? So the JavaScript is a synchronous language, but and sometimes there is some codes with unexpected behaviors, as like can block the code execution flow. And in that case, in JavaScript, we can use async, which kind of manages that unexpected behavior of that code and not block the execution of the code. And they will, so promises will return. Promises have three phases, like pending and fulfilled and rejected. And in that, so if you use async function, it's gonna return your pending, which will allow the code start executing. So executing and without blocking. And then when async function will get the response like fulfilled, it can be fulfilled or rejected, and then we'll give the final, the final result, and it will. So async. So in a nutshell, async is a help. So will help us not to block code, but in the same time to complete that code when that code gets a response, a yes or no response.
Nice. All right, good. And Can you give me a couple of cases where you would use a promise in JavaScript?
Oh, yeah, one of the main places where we can async functions, and it comes also with await. It is when fetching data. When we're fetching data, we don't know how long it's going to take to get the data. And yeah, this is a place to use async and await.
Mhm.
And other cases, maybe when we're fetching data from API or fetching data from the file. I only know these two cases, but it may have more cases.
Nice.
Yeah, I think also, I'm not sure about data. So when we are working with database, remote databases, maybe we can use it. I think, wait, I'm not sure.
Yep. Okay. And the last but not least question. I need to find a very nice question to you.
Okay.
And can you tell me what is a hosting means and how do you explain me what is the hosting in general?
Hosting.
Hosting.
Okay, hosting. Hosting means when we have a when we run the code in browser, it's gonna browser will what is it? So initialize all the variables and functions on the top in the beginning that we have to save some spaces for that variables and functions. It's gonna kind of put everything on top, and then I believe that hosting will show the code that so we'll have the variables of function, and we need some kind of space for them so later on. But but we can have some problems with hosting when we use so when we declare variables with var in an old way, when I don't know how to explain. I know what it is, but I'm not sure how to explain it. Yeah, but so it's about declaring the that functions and variables in the beginning and using it later. But when we use var as a variable, to declare a variable, it's going to give us some problems with hosting. But when we use let and const, they will not give any issues. Yeah, because yeah, that's it.
Okay. Did you have a chance to work with var and let const, or did you have a part of code with var?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it means when we use var and print. So we can hosting is going to be issue when we can use the variables value even before. Before it's declared on in the code, it is accessible. So even before, before. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for participating in today's interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a short feedback. I liked your answers. The thing comes to my mind first. I would expect you to ask me more questions. By the way, the next interviewee, make a goal, ask me in return at least 2 questions, maybe more, if you up to.
Qualification,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Next person or next time if we gonna be practicing more interview.
That's
I
a
would
good-
expect. Yeah, and if you do not ask me 2 questions, at least 2 questions, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be angry. Like, it's a joke. Where is my questions? And yeah, in general, I see you have a basic understanding and of programming and functions. Of course, something we can improve. It's not related to specifically your answers, but it's cool when you have a preset like statement for any questions. I know it comes with experience, but let's say they ask you about functional programming. Oh, by the way, functional programming. If you have like pre-trained speech for about 40 seconds, 1 minute, that would be a good sign and like good answer. Yeah, by the way, functional programming, it's when you can declare a function inside another function. But let's say we can have a function in React. What is that? Like any callback function, like useEffect. And inside useEffect, we can create another function inside of the blocks. And in other non-functional programming, we cannot declare, the compiler is not going to allow us to create functions inside the scope of another function. So
Okay,
this is one.
Okay.
Yeah. But in general, thank you for your answers. And I think you can pick the next person. Oh, it's about time.
Yeah, next. On my line, I see Zarina on my screen. Yeah, Zarina, you can go next.
Thank you. I was waiting for it.
Okay.
Zarina, are you ready?
Kinda, yeah. I have to be ready. I don't have no chance. I have no chance. Another choice.
Okay. I like your optimistic mood and approach. Hello, Zarina. Welcome to our interview today. Thank you for applying for this greatest of all the time position of front-end developer.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be asking you JavaScript fundamental questions.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to see you or hear you. I need to say
Okay.
something else. I don't know.
It's just say whatever comes to your mind, and if you like, no, we're just practicing. It's not like strict rules how to answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and in the scope of our mock interview, I would like to ask you
I'm already stressed.
no, you don't have to be stressed out too much. We're gonna start with easy questions. Can you tell me what is the function? How would you describe the function in JavaScript? Or in general function?
In JavaScript or general?
It's up to you.
Yeah. So, function is a block of code, if we can say that way. That, for example, we can divide our code to functions and create, for example, one function with a certain code and then use this function inside another function. So it means that it's a block of code with certain task. Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Could you list a couple of function attributes which you find important?
attributes, maybe function, so word function. Is it
The name of
attribute?
function, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the name.
the name of function and arguments or parameters
Mhm.
inside scope.
The scope.
Yeah, there's parameters and yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. A word function is when we don't have any name of, oh, no, we have name of function. Yeah. So I think the name of the function and the word function when it's not, I think it's declaration, yeah. And then parameters.
Yeah, that was right. Maybe I would add return value and probably I would add side effect, something what function does, like a scope of the execution. Nice. Can you tell me the difference between ES6 function and old type of function declaration, like arrow function?
About arrow function. So before we used word function, and now we are using arrow. We can use arrow function. We can name the function and then use give the name for the function. But in this case, we will not use so this word function. We will put without function word, and then we will use arrow. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So syntaxes is different.
Yeah, syntax is slightly different, but
Yeah.
can you tell me if the behavior of those functions is similar or they have any differences? Arrow function and like regular function.
Yes, I think that arrow function, we have to, first of all, we can use this function only when we have already, so we will create the function, and after creating this function, arrow function, we can use it. So we can't use this function before we declare it or create it. In case with the simple function, we can use this function. We can call this function before we created the function or after. It doesn't matter. I think it was the one of the differences.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Sounds great. Could you tell me, please, what is recursion? Did you had a chance to use recursion in your programming?
Recursion. Not really, but I think it was in algorithms. Is it about when we use the same function inside this function. Is it this one? I'm not sure.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So the main part of this concept, is it, can we say that it's concept? That we
You can call it
have,
algorithm.
yeah, in this algorithm, we need to have the point when we have to stop this function. So first of all, we will put some, we need this point when function needs to stop.
Mhm.
And then we will do the same stuff until we reach this point. So for example, when we want to calculation, I think simple. For now, it's difficult to share with example, but I think it's one of the important part of this recursion is using the point when we stop this function, and then we will use the same function inside the function.
Would you
We will call
say,
it again and again until we reach this point. Sorry.
yeah, what is a risky side or of using recursion algorithm in your code? What's the downside of that?
Lots of calls. So it would be what is the word of the it would be so many iterations, and it would block our website. I mean this
Mhm.
our code.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Infinity, yeah, infinity.
Infinite loop, yeah, it's like infinite loop, but it's gonna be calling itself if we don't have a proper
Yeah,
exit condition. We're gonna be looping out, calling itself again and again.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and are you familiar with JSON? Can you tell me what is a JSON?
JSON. Mm,
No, if you
I think
know,
it's
if you don't know, it's
JSON. So when we work with APIs, we are getting I think we have to how to explain. Oh, when we work with APIs, we will get the promises, and I think to solve them, we have to so return them to JSON. Oh no, I think it was wrong. Or we get the data in JSON, and then we have to parse them into the data that we can use later on.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what is that. Is it a
Okay, it's
type of
fine.
data, or let me
It's okay. It's okay to know it. Okay, and last but not least, let me ask you about DOM. Can you tell me what is a DOM, what DOM means, and if you had an experience working with DOM?
Yes, I had experience with working with DOM. DOM, it's a document. object model. So what we see on in our when we open the website, or we see the DOM, and with JavaScript we can make some interactive and dynamic code and change this code with using the DOM. And what else? DOM is a document, yeah, document. And DOM consists of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Yeah, I think that's it.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have any question to me?
Can you give me some feedback? That's it.
Yeah.
What kind of
Where is
question
my
it should be?
question?
What kind of question it should be? So you mean that not related to JavaScript, or what kind of question? I thought that we need to ask the question about, so clarify the question that you asked. This kind of stuff, but I'm not sure about this.
Let's make it. Let's just try make it. Can you ask me any question, like something from about JavaScript? Imagine you are the interviewer and I'm trying to answer your question as being interviewee. Can just an example. I can try myself. Maybe it's not that easy.
So now I have to be the interviewer. Am I right?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
Just for testing purposes.
Okay. Can you tell me about the JavaScript? What is that, and why we are using JavaScript nowadays? Or why did you choose this language? Programming language.
Yeah, JavaScript is my favorite and primary language I'm using. In general, JavaScript is being used for front-end development, especially in as a cryptic language inside of the browser scope. And nowadays it's being used for backend technologies as well, such as Node.js, and using different frameworks. But would you like me to tell you about more in general or some specific usage of JavaScript? Like front end, back end, or just on a higher level?
Yes, because it's front end. We are looking for a front-end developer. That's why I want to listen about front-end side.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the beginning, JavaScript was used just inside of the browser, and it gives us opportunity to manage and handle the data on the front end on the applications, and add some functionality to the web page. So with the time of existing and creation, JavaScript went through a lot of changes and updates. So the JavaScript today, what we have right now, gives us a lot of opportunities to make our web page very dynamic, readable, user-friendly, and add a lot of different features to our product. And yeah,
cool.
This is very functional. Would you like me to keep saying, or like?
No, thank you. It's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
So that's
got it.
Well, it's maybe not the perfect example. Let me connect my battery. Maybe not the best example, but if you try to keep asking the interviewer, first you might like narrow and refocus something from your, let's say they ask you the question, you don't really, you struggle to answer, or you're not super professional on that topic. And you might kind of move your focus to something else, like, and talk, like ask and maybe kind of control the process of interview, and maybe specify more details. And people like when they ask. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and about your questions, yeah, I see you know you know a lot of things about JavaScript, and yeah, as I already told, it would be great if you have your like prepared answers, like so you can just say it as a statement, as a very like confident statement.
Yeah.
About JSON, I think JSON it's a format in JavaScript, and it comes to better understanding at the time when you work with API and different applications. In our bootcamp, we had a chance to work just with front-end application in general, and we didn't have a lot of chance to use JSON. We use it just barely. But in real production, JSON is a format which different application, let's say I have application in Ruby or in Python, and I have another application made in JavaScript. And to exchange data between each other, they use JSON format. It's being called JavaScript object notation because in it has a similar structure as JavaScript object, with the exception of in JavaScript objects you can put function inside the object. In JSON you cannot have object like or function, just other object or any primitive value. And let's say in Python, if you want to make object, it's not going to look like JavaScript object, but they have different methods to convert their data to JSON format. So JSON, in any other language, JSON can be recognized.
JSON is what we have the similar as an object and in scopes. Quotes? Is it quotes?
Quotation mark?
Yeah. Is an object.
Quotation mark.
Yeah. Or another stuff.
Oh, in JavaScript, we can use it like real quick. My internet is super slow. Okay, so imagine this is JavaScript object. And JSON format is the same thing, but they have like quotation mark and like that. So this is kind of more object, and this is JSON format. In other languages, they may have a different syntax. Let's say in Ruby, they have this format of object. Like A is equal to, so this is a Ruby format, object format. They can call it hash. But when you want to exchange your object between different applications, they must be converted to something unique, something everybody can understand. So that's why JSON was invented. It's kind of easy, simple, and understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, Devina, thank you for your answers, and you can choose the next participant of our interview preparation training.
Next in the list, Ayan.
Ayan?
Thank you, Zarina, for trusting. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Hello, Ayan. Thank you for joining us and applying for
Hello,
our
Takhir. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for asking. So that was the third question, but it's not counted.
Ask me something easy then. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get started. Can you tell me, please, about data types in JavaScript? What kind of data types do you know?
We have JSON data types, and usually we using yes. You mean like what's the difference data types in JavaScript, or just like all like numbers, string, boolean, null, undefined symbol?
Oh, yeah. Cool. You already partially answered my question. Yeah. Yeah, just whatever comes to your mind, like different data types.
Okay. JavaScript has 6 primitive data types, like number, string, boolean, null, undefined symbol, and also have like 2 I forgot this word, compound data types. It's object and array.
Okay. There was primitives or it was all of them?
It was all of them.
Can you
Like
tell me?
6 data types. Not 6, it's 8. With also 2, like with object and array, it will be 8. Like 6 primitive data types.
Okay. Can you tell me what is difference between primitive and non-primitive data types?
I think like what's the difference between primitive and not primitive? Okay, object in array. I think array, for example, can hold it like different type of information, and I forgot what the difference, to be honest. Okay, I need to check.
Okay, this is not a problem. Do you know about reference in JavaScript? Reference to variable.
Reference to variable. No, I don't know about reference in JavaScript variable.
Okay. Okay.
I know some like junior questions.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
What is high order function in JavaScript? Something like this.
Yeah. Tell me, what is a high order function in JavaScript?
The high order function are functions that can accept other function as argument or return function in their result.
Nice. So can high order function, you say high order function can accept another functions as argument, right?
Yes, accept as other functions as argument.
Can you can it accept more than one function as argument, like 2 or 3?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that was a tricky question actually. Just
I hope I was right.
yeah. Well,
Yes, I was right.
Yeah, you were right.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Mhm.
I mean, I probably
Uh,
can ask like, I was right. I mean, I was right. I'm passing interview.
Can you tell me tell me a little bit more about JavaScript in how you connect your JavaScript in your front-end application to your documents? How it's been connected?
It will be connected in HTML. We will just edit, like write it in the end of script, JavaScript, and how we usually connect it and put some URL link in this script, and it will be connected our different page.
Sometimes the JavaScript might have, I mean, the document body might have some HTML elements like header, footers, or content, and the script tag. What is a difference and how important is the location of JavaScript tag in this document?
It's important because when we are downloading page, when it's like processing, it's downloading first like HTML files first, and it's reading like a top to down. Yes, that's why it's important.
Okay.
It's kind of have line like in the HTML files when we're working, and it will be download first HTML files and like for like basic information, and after that it will be started downloading in the script and the CSS file.
Nice, nice, good answer. Okay, can you tell me about object-oriented programming in JavaScript?
Object-oriented programming. Object programming.
Object-oriented OOP.
OP.
If you had any experience with that.
I have experience, but I don't know how to express this right way. Object-oriented language, it's
Is Java object-oriented programming or it's, I mean JavaScript?
yes, JavaScript is object-oriented language, but I don't know how to answer this. Could you please help me with this?
Yeah, maybe you can tell me if you know some basic principles of object-oriented programming.
Basic principle, wait a bit. Basic object.
Like single responsibility.
Basic object. Okay, it's classes and object, yes. It's programming paradigm centered around object and then action. We focus on data, object, and the method function that operate on the data. Okay. Yes, I still need your work in my interview questions. I didn't prepare.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Totally fine. Nothing to be sorry about.
Yeah,
Okay.
just need to be prepared. Yeah.
Can you tell me about data fetching in JavaScript? What kind of principles or approaches do you know for data fetching? For getting data from some resource?
Like asynchronous and synchronous function. Oh, you mean this one?
No,
Or
I
like
mean,
about like API?
the fetch, do you use fetch function, or you use kind of custom client for fetching data in your application?
Sure, we are using a fetching function for fetch our data to get data from JSON or whatever, another.
Mhm. Okay. What kind of problems did you face working with fetch function in JavaScript?
I faced many different problems. Usually it's like have like different type of data, and you should like using sometimes a different way, and it's kind of sometimes it's tricky, but I have like problems when I just not get data or just get undefined it in different transfer, yes, from backend.
Mhm. Okay. Nice.
I hope it was
And
last question.
last but not least, can you tell me what's the difference between const and let?
What the difference between const and let? Difference. Let. Let it's a keyboard declared a local variable, which means a variable can only be assigned within a block or code where it is declared. And const, it's like a constants. It will be like you can't like reassign, and it will be like how does it say const is like constants. From constants, it will be like just stay in like value assigned in the beginning, in the first.
Nice, nice. And just on the fly, real quick, give me just by one example for each of them. What would be a good case to use them? Constant let.
It's good case. For example, when we it will be good case when we are with const when we're using like personal information. For example, like Jane, name Jane, and age this when it will be like good when you're like it will be stay in constant and nobody like we just need to like change in directly. When it's like let, it will be good when you're using like some like for example, we have like some numbers, like we have 5 different clause, and we can always like reassign and change like, oh, this is now it's 4 clause, like these numbers or something.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much for your answers.
Thank you, Takhir, for your time.
Yeah. Short feedback. Thank you. I know I noticed you asked me questions, and yeah, you asked me questions more. You followed my advice, and yeah, sometimes it's not a bad practice to ask, even like if you don't understand what the person wants to ask you or like the topic. They sometimes, the people who make interview for you, they are like might have 10 years of experience, or some people they may have 1 or 2 years of experience. And in my practice, when I was going through interviews, I had some engineers who had like a couple years of experience, and they might be not able to express themselves good enough while asking you questions. And if you ask and really wants to find out what the person means and ask one question, another question, it's kind of wouldn't be bad if you kind of discuss. And I like you ask me questions in return. And yeah, I like that you were saying with positive, you're in a like very positive mood. And about this, some of the topics we touched during these questions. Of course, the OOP, from my practice, I've been asked about OOP a lot of the times, at least to know what is that, because I've been asked, hey, JavaScript is object-oriented programming. What does it mean? Or like, what you know about object-oriented programming, and stuff like that, or what principles OOP. The tricky thing is that OOP is not used so much in JavaScript, but people for some reason like to ask questions about OOP, because the engineers with 10 years of experience, they had to use OOP in classes in programming a lot, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. They used it OOP everywhere. And right now, it's not been used that quite often. So that's why they asking. It's kind of good to know. I understand that you didn't practice it a lot, but OOP,
Yes,
one
I
of the
feel
topics.
silly. I understand, like I'm realizing now, like I couldn't answer even like simple question, but I will working on it. Thank you.
Mhm. Yep. And you have a chance to choose the next participant of our interview,
Lavinia.
Joanna. Yeah.
Hi guys. I think there's nobody else left.
Yeah, you are you're going to get the
Best
topic.
part.
You're gonna
Her
get the
best part.
hardest ones, the leftovers.
No, you have time to prepare, you know, have more experience.
Okay, by the way, I got my friend responded to me that my friend is going to join us after like 20 minutes in the last part of this class. So we're gonna do this round.
You can join
We're gonna
us
take a short break.
now.
Lavinia, are you lucky or what?
Yeah, but we're not gonna skip you anyways. After this, the last interview, the last round, we're gonna take a break, and then when we come back, we're gonna have our guest with us. Mhm.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay. And how can I say your name, Lavinia?
Yes, that's correct.
Hello, Lavinia, and welcome to our mock interview sessions.
Thank you for having me. Hello as well.
Yeah. And during today's interview, I would like to ask you yeah, can you tell me the couple of programming principles of the top of your mind? Just let's start for warm up.
Programming principles. Is it what we discussed in the beginning? Don't repeat yourself. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know actually, because I mean, is inheritance one of the programming principles as well?
Inheritance.
I am not sure. I'm actually asking.
Inheritance, it's I think more addressed to OOP principles, but it also is a principle of
Like prototypes,
mhm,
that's what I would say.
mhm. Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you know any like basic principles like do not repeat yourself or YAGNI? Have you heard about YAGNI principle?
No, but I know do not
Yeah.
write. Don't repeat yourself. I think this is the most popular one.
Mhm. Yeah. My favorite one is a kiss. Keep it stupid simple. The stupidly simple, simple, stupid. It's the favorite principles of mine because I just hate when people don't like to read a very complex code. It takes me a time and
Okay.
Can you tell me about for loop? What is a for loop and what kind of for loops do you use in JavaScript? I mean
Uh,
loops in general.
yes. So yeah, in JavaScript we have different types of loops. For example, I know that actually help us to iterate statements. I know for in loop, for off loop, for loop. For example, the for in loop, I think it helps to enumerate iterate maybe properties of an object. For off, also we can use it for array. And for the for loop is the most popular one.
Mhm. Nice.
Yes. That would be my answer for your question.
You mentioned about the iteration of the object and of the array, right?
Yes.
And what kind of iteration do you know how to iterate the array? Or any other methods? Do you know?
Yeah, I also know, I think, how are they called? Higher order methods, or I would do for each. I can use for each, and then also we can use map. Map is very popular. These two are also methods in JavaScript.
Mhm. Nice. It's array methods, right?
Yes.
What is the difference between for each and map?
There is actually a crucial difference because map will return to you a new array. Meanwhile, for each won't return anything. So by using map, you will receive a new array with the results of the function applied on each element.
Nice, nice. So for each, I mean, the map returns a new function. By the way, map is being used in different programming languages and being called map too, at least in Ruby and Python. At least Ruby too. Map. It's kind of commonly used name for this iteration.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Nice. Can you tell me about the threads in JavaScript? What kind of threads do you know? And if you know, how do they work under hood?
Okay, this is a bit of a tricky question for me because I'm not very familiar with this. I know that JavaScript is a single thread language or something like this. But I would not be able to go into details because I'm not really quite familiar.
Mhm. Have you heard about asynchronous thread?
No. Or maybe I
Okay.
did and I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I know
All right.
the asynchronous programming, but I don't know about the asynchronous thread. But because I know that the asynchronous programming in general reduces the wait time and it helps with the performance and the responsiveness.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. How good are you with object-oriented programming? Do you know difference between class and instance?
If I know the difference between class and instance.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I am actually writing down all these topics and I'm gonna improve on it because I think no, not really.
Actually, instance it's a return of instantiating the class. So when you have a class creates an instance. It's gonna
Okay.
class is a prototype.
I know that classes are like blueprints or templates for creating objects, and then instances are related to classes in this case, from what you just said.
Class create instance, yes. So
Oh.
you can instantiate a class. But if you don't have a lot of experience with JavaScript, I mean, with object-oriented programming, this is fine. We don't use a lot of JavaScript object programming as well, but we have to ask you during the interview. Okay.
Well, they say
Uh,
that JavaScript is the language where the function is the king, so is a functional programming.
that was a very good statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me about the operators in JavaScript? What kind of operators do you know?
When we talk about operators, are we talking about the strict or loose equality?
It's more simple, more basic operators like comparison operator, logical.
Comparison. Would you please give me an example?
Yeah, like mathematical operators, logical operators.
I see. So when we want to assign a value, when we want to add, multiply, when we want to compare, is this what we are talking about?
Yeah.
And then if you just mentioned logical operator, so that would be or, and, I think. Are we
And
talking
what
about
is
ternary operator?
what is a difference between double equal sign and triple equal sign operators?
So they both return true if they find equality or false, but I think it has something to do whatever they're comparing. One is comparing, I think, value and type. That would be the triple, and just the two equal sign. I think that one compares only the type. So most of the time it's recommended to play on the safe side and use the triple equal.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. And the last but not least, I think I'd like to ask you about the function. What is the best function would you call in functional programming? How could you describe the best function?
Oh. The best functioning in terms of what? Because we have more types of functions in JavaScript. I think the best function is the function that works, gives you the result you expect. But what do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's a little bit ephemeral question, but in programming in general, the function which has no arguments and no return is kind of the best function, which doesn't have to like. It's kind of simple and easy because some like arguments of functions they can add the complexity.
So we are not.
Oh,
Are
by
we
the way,
talking about the pure function in JavaScript? Is
yeah,
that
the
one?
pure. The pure function? I couldn't hear you well.
Yeah, I was not sure if you just described like the best function, would it be the pure function? Or maybe you're into something else.
Yeah, it's probably honestly, the pure function, I didn't use this term myself, but the pure function, it's let me see, it's kind of similar. But in general, in programming, the function without arguments and output would be like considered like as a very simple and easy functions. And even without side effect would be the best one, but it cannot have any use.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay. And I think we have 1 more minute. Maybe I can ask you, if you don't mind, I can ask you another question.
Sure.
Another question. Can you tell me about async await function? Where do you use it, and a little bit about this kind of functions?
Async await.
Yep.
Async await are actually really useful. I usually use them for APIs calls. I don't know, it's always really hard to explain this concept. I think async returns a promise, and then we use the keyword, I would call it await. Yeah, async await actually work together as a pair. It's always a teamwork. And usually await makes our code wait until the promise settles, and it returns our result. Yes.
Nice.
I hope I
Good.
got it right.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Well, thank you very much for your answers. a short feedback. Yeah, thank you for asking questions in return. Yeah, as I already mentioned previously, yeah, I can see you have knowledge and understanding of the topic. And yep, there is nothing as much I can criticize or say. Yeah, as ever, I can say the prepared statement and practiced the statements would be a good addition, but it comes with experience. But overall, yeah, I'll let you answers.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a short break, and I'm going to ask my friends to join us after that and keep going later on. Let's put 10 minutes. 10 minutes. All right, well, see you in 10 minutes.